up here, Mr. Marshall Freeman. He is the Chief Operating Officer for the Atlanta Police Foundation. And if you have been looking at his bio, he's got a fascinating bio. Now, with the Atlanta Police Foundation, he leads a team that manages programs and initiatives designed to prevent and decrease crime and enhance public safety, the infrastructure, to increase police visibility, to provide mid-career training to the Atlanta police officers, and test and acquire state-of-the-art technology for the South's and one of the country's largest urban police force. Now, very notably, he does not come from a law enforcement background. You probably saw that he comes from the entertainment industry. And that is why, Mr. Freeman, we have cleared out this space in the front. Yeah, Phil wasn't kidding. That you're gonna lead us in a line dance. No, that's all right. We were just trying to scare him, getting warmed up to us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Marshall Freeman to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? All right, let's try one more time for everybody in the back. How's everybody doing? All right, awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it very much. Happy to spend this time with you guys, GC&E. Thank you guys so much for having me. So, as many of you might know and understand, police departments throughout the entire country are extremely short-staffed. And Atlanta is not immune to the issue at all. Today, Atlanta Police Department boasts about 250 vacancies in the department. As you can imagine, here in Atlanta, a city that has about 500,000 residents that are living in Atlanta city limits proper, but the population swells to more than 2.5 million people a day that are all visiting, coming to the aquarium, going to the world of Coca-Cola and all these different places and enjoying it and working just like you and I. Policing in this city is a critical need. And so when you look at the Atlanta Police Foundation, our strategy is one that is really critical to the city. And it's not something that is kind of a nice to have. We've really built the foundation on the principles that allow us to focus on strategy. What's next for the police department? With that kind of vacancy and that delta of 250 folks being absent, well, they don't have the time to focus on the future of what policing looks like as we continue to grow as a city. So as a side note, we're growing by the day, busting at the seams. So you guys tell your nieces, nephews, uncles, cousins, Atlanta is full. Houston is available. We don't need anybody else here in this city. We are busting at the seams by the day, clearly with traffic. So the Atlanta Police Foundation, again, is made up of business leaders, civic leaders, community partners, just like each and every person in this room. So we really rely on the expertise, the technology, that little software application that you guys might have that will help us to ultimately be a lot more efficient with what we do every day. So how many people are familiar with the Police Foundation? Anybody in the room? All right, awesome. Fantastic. So right in that top left corner, anybody recognize that guy top left corner? Raise your hand. No, a couple. All right, put your hands down. You guys are showing your age. All right, top left corner, that is Chief Pennington. So he actually came here in 2002 from New Orleans. If you're familiar with New Orleans, one of the most visible public safety programs they have are all of the officers that are on horses, mounted patrol. So he came, he said to Mayor Franklin, hey, we need to try to pass the hat amongst the community and get some folks to put in and let's get some horses for this city. Let's get mounted patrol back. And so sure enough, they passed legislation, created the Atlanta Police Foundation. And then 2 years later in 2005, Dave Wilkinson, he is our current CEO and president. Dave was retiring from the Secret Service, so he ran the president's detail for both Bush and President Clinton. And so he decided, hey, I'll jump in, I'll lead this organization, but it's got to be much more than just buying a couple horses for the police department. We can do a whole lot better than that. So let's make a strategic plan for how we could help the police department and be a strategic partner to the city and really grow things further. So now if you flash back from 2005 to now, a few years ago, we had about 100 candidates running for mayor of the city of Atlanta. When we got down to the top 6, we took those and we brought them into the office every day. And we worked with them for 2-hour sessions. And we said, hey, let's build a strategy for this city so that once you take office, you won't be clueless. You'll have an understanding of what the landscape looks like, what we need as a city. And so we built this plan called Vision Safe Atlanta. And the very first day that Mayor Bottoms took office, we handed her a book about this big and said, here's the part of this plan that you're committed to doing through tax dollars. And then here's the part of the plan that we are committed to doing with private philanthropy dollars. That was the Vision Safe Atlanta plan. So it has 4 pillars that are super simple and easy that we'll talk about today. Police visibility being a big one, technology being another one, repeat offender, and then also reducing juvenile crime. So that very first one, which is police visibility. Obviously, you guys might have seen the news about the wages of the Atlanta Police Department officers. So one of the first things we attacked was that. We brought together a company and we said, hey, we've got to fix this issue. We've got to fix this compensation issue. Well, the compensation plan showed Atlanta Police Department officers were underpaid about 20% compared to their peers. So we went to Mayor Bottoms and said, hey, we need $43 million to fix this issue. And sure enough, as you can imagine, she said, I don't have $43 million. But eventually we were able to kind of turn the page and work through strategically through taxpayer dollars, and we now have increased salary for Atlanta Police Department officers. So that was our first fix. But it's a holistic plan that's much more than that. So the next part of it, when we talk about facilities, Atlanta Police Department, the fire department, here infrastructure is a huge problem. So we have facilities that are crumbling. So the current training facility that the police department recruits are training in is an old elementary school. So the seats are about this high in the toilets, and the guys are about this tall. And so we've got to build a world-class facility, because how can you recruit and retain the best and the brightest? And if we're trying to build a world-class police force here for our city, we've got to fix that issue. So you might know right down on Key Road, the old prison farm there, that honor farm there, we have done an entire plan where we've brought in land planners, all pro bono, architects and people, again, with the expertise to come in and map out this public safety training center. So I just want to show you the concept of what this would be. It's a place that we would combine police, fire, corrections for our city, bring them all together, and give them a world-class training facility that we need in this city. So that facility there, of course, again, critical to our city. So we are currently working with the mayor's administration. We are currently passing the hat among the business community. We need about $90 million. So before you guys leave here, I'm taking checks, all right? We've got a long way to go to get there, but we will get there. Again, it's about the vision for our city for the future. So in that police visibility part of it, another program that I'll highlight is a program we have called Secure Neighborhoods. So it's a program where we build houses for police officers. So we acquire land. We actually have a partnership with Pulte Homes. They come in, build the house at cost. Once they build the house at cost, we then sell it to the officer. And we give it to them. They are able to move in, get instant equity. That's an awesome program. Has nothing at all to do with affordable housing. It has everything to do with security. So we know that if we strategically buy these properties, throughout the city in depressed neighborhoods. We move a cop there, put a police car right outside of his house. What do you think happens to the crime? Obviously goes down. So we're very strategic in the way that we're thinking. So we just cut the ribbon on 16 houses on the west side that added to 5 that we had previously opened. We also are building 10 right now, more on the west side, and we're building 10 more on the south side. So again, being strategic about where we go. Then the next thing we had to fix, about 2 years ago, chief of police called and said, hey, listen, got bad news, can you help? We need a hotel room for a couple months here because a police recruit who's joining Atlanta Police has moved here and he's living in his car. So you can't have somebody living in a car going through the academy. Imagine they're trying to pass the test, they're trying to do all these things. They can't live in their car. So that took us to our next idea again for the future. So we broke ground earlier this year on a 32-bed apartment unit on the west side where we will now house police recruits that are coming to join the Atlanta Police Department. So I'll show you a quick part of the groundbreaking.
Old office in the English Avenue community will be transformed into housing for 30 to 35 APD recruits to live while attending the police academy.
All right, everyone right here. 1, 2, 3.
The groundbreaking ceremony for the recruit housing reflects a deeper commitment to service.
We now have a place that we're going to be able to put all of our police recruits. These cadets will live in this community, about 30 of them, live in this community, which means that they're going to be walking to and fro, going to the barbershop, beauty salon, banks, passing by seniors and kids. They will inspire folks and make sure that we have a friendly relationship between police recruits and the community. And hopefully, they'll get to know this community so well that when they become police officers, they will live here and be a vibrant part of our community.
The APD Recruits Living Facility, the result of a joint effort between the Atlanta Police Foundation and the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, is near a section of permanent police officer housing and the first at Promise Center review.
So again, another cool program. So again, these are just highlighting some of those things in visibility that are important. You guys may see on the news all the time, the Crime Stoppers program. Sergeant Paxton is somewhere in this room. He runs that program. So that's actually the one program that we have from the foundation that actually extends outside of Atlanta proper. So no matter whether a crime happens in Gwinnett, Cobb, or Marietta, or Henry County, or anywhere, that funding for those rewards come from the Atlanta Police Foundation. So up until today, since that program has begun, we've received about 35,000 tips, if you imagine, and we've approved about $1.2 million in rewards for the community for that anonymous tip line. So again, another critical resource for us as well. The next kind of level that we're doing right now is actually a Campus Crime Stoppers program. So again, we birthed this out of the vision and something that was a horrible incident that we've turned into making something positive happen. So you guys may remember in the fall of last year over at the AUC schools, Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, there was a shooting on campus and 4 students were actually sent to the hospital. And so we looked at the footage, we saw on the camera all of the students talking to the shooter. As they talked to the shooter, we then went afterwards and did some interviews and tried to say, hey, can you guys help us identify this guy from this video? Nobody would talk. They were absolutely afraid, deathly afraid that somebody would find out, hey, I snitched, hey, I told. And so the program is 100% anonymous. So we're now building this Campus Crime Stoppers program where we're going to take a student from all of those campuses in addition to Georgia State, Georgia Tech, and Atlanta Technical College and put them on a board, do some really cool marketing, send it over to the campus, and ultimately encourage the students to have a stake in public safety of their own campus. So very important thing. So now talking about that AUC thing, check out this first story of an incident that happened, and we'll talk.
The video is scary, but police say they need us to take a look at it. It's where we start your speed feed tonight. The video shows a man on 2 different occasions shooting up an apartment building on Fulton Street Southwest with an assault rifle. The first time, March 17th, he came back the next morning and did that again. Both times, you could see him get out of a black Jeep Wrangler in broad daylight and shoot out that same building. Several units were damaged. If you can help identify this shooter, please call Crime Stoppers.
Horrific. 2 days in a row, shooting up that apartment complex. So now look at incident number 2. If you take a look right there on the bottom left of your screen, you'll see that circle. It'll identify the shooter from that AUC campus. So apartment complex thing happens in March. Later on in the year, in the fall, that AUC shooting happens. 4 students are now shot in the hospital. What do these 2 things have in common? The same person, same shooter. So what does that tell us? That's a problem. Somebody could go and shoot up an apartment complex, do it 2 days in a row, actually get the Crime Stopper tip, identified the person. They went to jail, got out on the signature bond, only to do it again. Well, that's a problem. So that tells us there's a problem with the justice system. So that takes us to our next pillar, which is all about repeat offender. It's about getting the worst of the worst criminals off of the street. The ones that are too far gone, there's no helping. We've got to do something. We've got to get them in the jail. So we've been putting out and publishing every single year a repeat offender report. You guys should check it out, look it up. It's an awesome resource. How many people know the sentencing history of a judge that you might be putting on the bench? Most people don't. So what that report is designed to do is to create transparency. So you all are armed with the knowledge to understand, hey, if this person is sentencing repeat offenders at only 10%, well, they probably shouldn't be in our justice system, right? So check that report out. It's definitely the link that is on the Atlanta Police Foundation website. It'll give you the knowledge that you need. So we're doing a whole lot with that justice system, a whole lot to fix those issues and problems moving forward. So then we get into that next pillar, that third pillar, which is all about juvenile crime. Now, how can we now get to the youth that ultimately we can save? We know that crime patterns are progressive, so they may have stolen something small today and it kind of continues to go. So how can we get to them early? That's what this is about. So we built the youth center, our very first one in 2017, over on the west side, again, to fix juvenile crime. So I want to share a story with you of a student that I now call my friend.
I grew up not knowing who my father is. My mother always had love for me, but my grandma was the one who took care of me. So it was just like I really had nobody. I really had to go out here and find something. And when I didn't find it, that's what made me live the street life. Growing up with my first oldest brother and all his friends, and they would just leave me to be negative. Everything they did, I just did 10 times worse. All you know is you don't have nothing, so therefore you gotta find a way to get it. And by any means necessary, you're gonna do the wrong thing. I was destined to be somewhere in prison. I got 5 brothers. One died in 2017, and I think from then and there, that's when I started coming down into that promise. And
I remember Javar's being walked down to my office by a young lady in Street Smart Youth Project, and she introduced Javar's Millbrooks to me.
I was going around showing everybody a video of me fighting somebody in the neighborhood, and they like introduced them like, you should meet this guy named Officer Moore. And I'm like, I'm not really trying to meet no officers up there because I had too many problems with officers growing up.
I found out from another young person that he was in juvenile detention. He beat up a young person so bad that they thought that he was dead. He didn't smile, his eyes were cold. You could tell that he had a lot of anger and aggression, didn't like authority figures, did not like the police. But he found out that I was a boxing coach. And the first thing he said was, I like to fight. I just gave him a couple rules. I said, anything I say, I just need you to listen. You're gonna fight. You can fight with me, but you can't fight with anybody else. We went at it right away. Through strategic partnerships, he was able to gain housing through Chris 180, who has been a phenomenal partner here at the Promise Center. He's getting his GED through Urban League. He still boxes and mentors with me. I let him drive my car for the first time. I was off duty. We drove in a parking lot, but I mean, just to see his face. Just to see his face light up. He knows that, you know, like people care about him and people want him to be successful. You know, it's been several times where he said, man, you're like my dad.
So what I want to accomplish is my GED, my license, and I'm being a mentor to most of the kids, and because everybody look up to me.
He literally just leads the kids. I mean, he'll go above and beyond to try to change the dynamics of another young person because he doesn't think that they should go through the same thing that he went through. Before, he didn't care about anybody else. He just thought about himself. It was always fight or flight. But I will say this, it's a new person. I think everybody here at the Promise Center wants young people to be successful, just for the simple fact that we all go above and beyond to try to give them a better quality of life.
Don't look at us as, oh, he just a criminal, he gonna always be a criminal for the rest of his life. They look past all that. We're still their own child.
If Javaris had not been here at the Promise Center, Javaris probably would have been in jail, if not dead. This center saved so many young people's lives. It's priceless. You know, you can't put a price on what you do to change somebody's life.
So that center there is over on the west side in the English Avenue, Vine City area. So again, as I mentioned, every program that we have is designed around collaboration. So I'd encourage you all to come on over, get involved, come volunteer for the day. The guys from Axis were kind enough at the end of the year to do a service project where they came over and helped the youth throughout the day. So again, every program is designed with our community in mind. So they're just like Javaris, there's hundreds of other youth out there who also need that second chance. So that center opened in 2017. After that first year, we expected to serve 150 youth. We ended the year at 347 youth being served out of that one center in year one. Out of that 347, 92% graduated or got their GED. 89% received a job. And then when you look at recidivism rates across the country, meaning a person that might reoffend, those rates are more than 70%. Those 347%, the recidivism rate is 2% of the youth that are in that building. So that kind of told us we were on to something. So we are now building 2 more of those centers. So one out on Metropolitan Parkway, which is under construction at this time. And then we're also building a 3rd center, which is out on Campbellton Road. So again, we were strategically putting them in the areas that the youth can get to them. And it's not a regular youth center, if you imagine. It's not a place where everybody's coming to just shoot pool all day. And yes, we have the fun stuff, the recording studios and the, learn how to make movies and all that good stuff there. But it's a place where the courts are saying, hey, no, you got to go there. You've got to get your GED. We're going to give you a certification and teach you coding and get you a job after it. So you've got students in there that are now making 25, 30 bucks an hour after passing these certifications. So the system is working. So again, encourage you guys to come on over, get involved. So then that last pillar that I want to talk about today is obviously technology. So I'm in a room full of technology folks. I'm going to preface this by saying I know nothing about technology. So when we get to question and answer, no tech question. No, I'm just kidding. I know nothing about technology, all right, but we'll get there. We're getting there together. I'm learning. So obviously here in Atlanta, you guys know we stood up a few years ago the Video Integration Center. Operation Shield, of course, is a really big program of ours where we built it on a public-private partnership, just like every program we have, where we ultimately put together a map, and we said, where does the police department need an actual camera, whether it's an LPR or PTZ or whatever? Where do we actually desire a camera throughout the entire city? All 6 zones. Then our concept and idea was for it not to ever be burdensome to the city. They could never afford to have thousands and thousands of cameras and maintain them. So we said we will allow the residents to kind of pitch in, fund the cameras that are closest to where you might live. So hey, you've got this community association here, and this camera the police department needs here, why don't you guys kind of pass the hat, fund the camera? That was the idea. So we built that concept a few years ago, and it's been working. Obviously, anybody saw the news recently about technology in Atlanta? All right, good. There was an article that ran 2 days ago, and if I knew it was going to run, we might have took technology out of this presentation, but that's all right. It highlights kind of our challenges and our issues. So again, this is why we talk about and we preach the need for everybody, the actual experts in the room, to kind of dive in and actually help us. So a couple priorities for us right now. The integration of private business cameras is a priority. We've integrated a lot of the cameras through a PSIM solution from the World of Coca-Cola, the aquarium, and all folks around, but it's an antiquated system at this point that we have over in the Video Integration Center. So we're actually looking for a solution that we can have there that will allow us to continue to go out to the gas stations, to the businesses and everybody, and get them all ingested into the network in real time. So again, I say that to say if you have solutions, if you have things that could help, we need your help, we need your expertise. Second issue that we have right now, that we're figuring out, more cameras in critical areas. So imagine that public-private partnership model that I told you. Yeah, sure, a lot of residents in Zone 2 or in Buckhead might have the financing to pass the hat. Yeah, not so much in Zone 3 or Zone 4. So we're looking for people to also help with the funding and get some more cameras up, and we're thinking through how can we now solve solutions like that, offer some more low-cost solutions to gas stations and communities of that nature. The next one is data. I think every city talks about the costly data when you talk about transmitting the data from the camera to a real-time crime center. Obviously, it's super expensive. And so with the number of cameras that we have, that bill continues to come every single month. So now we're looking at other options, relying on technology folks to say, maybe we don't need all of this data. We don't need to get the information back from overnight when nothing's happening on this cul-de-sac. Give us only the information that we actually need. Transmit the actual data that we do need when we need it. So that's our principle that we're searching for right now, a solution. Next one is proper service and maintenance. That goes to the article that just came out. I'll share it with you guys. It was an article that came out that said that a couple hundred cameras in the city of Atlanta were down recently. And the fact of the matter is, they were right. They were down at one point. We knew they were down, and we did fix it. Because the way that the system works, after the third year, the maintenance of those cameras, the Police Foundation owns it under the first 3 years. Year 4 rolls over to the city of Atlanta. So again, when you talk about bureaucracy and procurement, they had a pot of money sitting there for camera maintenance that they couldn't spend. So they couldn't fix the camera. So we jumped in, bailed them out, and we fixed it. But again, how can we now do some preventative maintenance? How can we now jump in and fix things, and so we don't have that slew of cameras to actually go down? And then the last one is technology staffing. So we're looking for smart, sharp people who can jump in and help this city that we all call home. Maybe it's a colleague of yours. Maybe you know somebody who could jump in. We're looking for some tech folks. If you're sitting at a table with your boss, then don't start smiling. But we're looking for some people. We need some people. We need your help. So that's our big thing right now. Those are our priorities when we talk about technology and how we could have that imprint in this city. So that's our strategy, that holistic plan and that approach. These programs I highlighted are amongst there's another 25 programs just like it that we have that we're running over at the foundation. But again, all things that are super critical to our city. So when we talk about, again, a call to action for you guys, it's about getting involved. It's about jumping in. I can't emphasize it enough. We need your help. We need your talent. We need your expertise. Join us. You want to learn more? Come to an event. We do some cool events. Come out. Learn a little bit at each along the way, and then kind of figure out the place that you might fit into it. So March 27th, we got a really cool event called A Night in Blue. Dr. Oz is hosting it. We're rolling out a big program among APD to focus on health and wellness for police officers. Another program. April 13th, we got a big golf tournament. Anybody a golfer coming out, play? We got a big youth field day coming up in May, and then big corporate breakfast, and then also a big party at the end of the year called Blue Jean Ball, where we celebrate the accomplishments that we have got done throughout the year. So again, I invite you guys to join us on the journey. I appreciate your time today. I think we have a little bit of time for questions. Yes? Again, no hard questions.
Thank you, Marshall. How about that? That is amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. Marshall, as you would expect, just about all of us here live in the metro area. Many of us live in the city of Atlanta. Did you see some new information there that was very helpful, make you proud of the Atlanta PD, the foundation? So thank you for bringing this information to us and reminding us of the great city that we have and the leaders that we have that are building a very bright future for our community. So thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, yes, let's give them another hand.
Thank you.
The Atlanta PD and the foundation itself is a customer, a client Absolutely. Of GC&E, and some of you that are out there, some of the vendors as well. So we're just grateful for this relationship. Let's open up. We have time. We have time. Actually, we have a lot of time. And I'm watching the caterers. They're not even out with the food yet. So we have the comfort of some time to have a conversation with Marshall. Questions you have, anything whatsoever, especially about technology.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hey, Marshall.
Oh, right back there.
Hey, can you explain about the mentorships to the audience on Wednesdays at the At Promise Centers and how that can be affected by individuals here?
Sure. So what, that's Darren in the back? Yes, it is. So what Darren's talking about is that on Wednesday nights, we actually invite corporations, folks like you. We do this Wednesday night mentorship thing over at the Youth Center. So you guys are able to come out. We do 2 meals a day for all of the youth in the center. So again, we try to bridge those gaps and have you guys to sit and talk and have dinner with an actual kid or a youth. And you may, again, inspire them to go into technology or go into law enforcement or go into public safety, into one of the fields that you guys are all in. So again, we'd invite you guys to come over on a Wednesday night and have dinner with the kids.
What is the best way? Some of us are quite inspired by what we have seen, and some of us are even deciding that, hey, I've got an extra couple hours on a weekend. You know, maybe I want to drag my son and my daughter with me, and we'll just both spend a Saturday somewhere. Where can we find information that will help us connect with some of these programs? Where can we? What's the best site to go?
Yeah, easiest thing to do is go to the Atlanta Police Foundation website. At Promise, you'll see that program link there. There you also see our staff, and there's a director of youth programs. Her name's Lakeisha Walker. You can literally click Lakeisha a note, and she can tell you, hey, here's all the opportunities. Whenever you want to come down, you're welcome to come.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please consider doing that. Let's take another question. Any questions?
You guys
Any
are
questions?
easy. I like it.
Yeah. Technology question? How about a dance choreography question?
No.
All right. No questions whatsoever? Well, let's bring Jim and Dennis up so we can give you a speaker gift. Thank you.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you
so much.
would spend this break with the vendors, Brenda, I can see Brenda back there. She is going to inform the caterers that we are ready to be fed. In fact, when we break, do remember to get your parking sticker. It probably has arrived at the registration desk, so you can do that during the break as well as we wait to have lunch served. Lunch will be buffet style. You may have noticed it in the very back there. It's not plated, so you don't have to clear an area like how we've done it in the past. So it will be buffet style, and we'll let you know. You will kind of be able to notice when things happen to be ready. You will also notice that we have placed a hand sanitizer at the very beginning of the buffet line. These days, I think all of us are much more careful about personal hygiene, so we ask all of you to sanitize your hands, especially when you go through the buffet line. I think I've covered all the to-dos. We will enjoy lunch, and I'll make another announcement later on about the raffle. We're going to move that up a little bit. All right? Let's take a break.